This conference will now be recorded.
So Vikas will take the session today regarding BI, power of BI. He may discuss several tools and all. So you can ask your question at the end of your session, and please mute yourself and please be participative through the chat. And let's wait for others to join. So we have total 9 people who joined right now. So guys, you can turn on your video so that we can see each other and we can know each other, because we are meeting in a virtual world, and we are in a group since last 2 or 3 years or 4 years, I think. But we have never saw each other by personally. So you can on your video so that we will see each other's face. Hi Aviram.
Hi Samir, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm good here.
Hi Samir.
Hi, who's that?
Hi, Amrit. And Abra.
Hi, yeah, hi Amrit. Hi, yeah, hi.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Vikas is also there, right? Vikas?
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Is it Vikas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
So
fine.
Vikas, can you please turn your camera on so that we can see you?
Mm,
So about 17 people have already joined. So is it good to go, or we should wait for others to join?
I think my camera is not working, but yeah, it's up to you guys. If you want me to start, I can start and share the screen.
Just a minute. Before that, I will just give some introduction. So Pratik is also there, right? Pratik, and there are two Pratik.
Yeah, hi
And
Samir.
today's
Hi everyone.
today's session is happening because of Pratik Ravina, because they initiated and they asked for such a beautiful session to arrange, and we are doing this after like I think 2 or 3 years. Okay, so Vikas, is there any PPT or something like that which you want to share so that I will uh, give you the access? Vikas, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, is there anything which you need to share with on the screen?
Yeah, I can share the screen.
Okay, then be ready with it so that I will give you the access. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so let's start. Please be participative, guys. Please say yes so that I will start.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes
sure,
Samir,
you
you
can
can start.
start.
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay, so good to go, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Great, great. So, myself, Samir, and we are here today to discuss about the Power BI. And on your demand, we have organized this session to learn something productive from the skilled and experienced members of this group. So, hope most of us are working from home, and please be safe and take care of yourself and your family. Since I cannot see anyone's face, so I'm a little confused. Where should I see? Anyways, since
I don't think
many
you can just repeat that.
no, that's why I'm saying you guys can turn your camera on so that we can see each other, because we are from some virtual world where we don't know each other, but we are in a group since last 2 or 3 years. So it's better if you guys also can t- on your camera so that we can
Say
see
hi.
each other. Anyways, since many new members have joined this group, so let me introduce myself. Uh, then I will transfer this presentation. I will give the access to Vikas so that he can start with his presentation. Myself, Samir, I'm working with Intellect Design Arena as a consultant, and I have around 9 years of experience as a BA. And I have exposure into eGov and supply chain and management, and I'm also currently working in an e-commerce field. So also I have completed my MBA from Monji. So this was my quick introduction. Now I will transfer this call to Vikas so that he will take this session. But before that, let me tell you some quick note, quick pointers which need to be maintained in this call. First thing is please mute yourself, and please everyone will get the chance to ask the question at the end of the session. Vikas will answer to everyone, and please note down all your questions for the end so that we can the presenter will not get distracted. And please be participative through the chat, and please mute your phone. Okay. So thank you so much. And now Vikas will start his part. Is that okay, Vikas?
Yes, yes. Sounds good.
Give me a moment. I will give the share the access with Vikas. You got the access, Vikas?
Okay, let me share the one which is okay. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yes,
we
yeah,
we
can.
can see.
it's visible.
Okay, okay. So this is some this is a deck which I got from a dashboard in a day from the Microsoft representatives. So I'm just using the same one. I haven't created a one for you guys. So this is the evolution of Power BI. I'll be just brief on these ones, and I'll walk you through the tool so that you can get more experience on how to use it and how it helps you in on your daily needs, like working on the data which you're having access to. So this is the evolution of BI. Before, there used to be a couple of people working in the organization on the business intelligence, and to solve this like lack of scalability and the gap between the BI team and the end users, they introduced a second approach, which is handling the analyst who understand the business and taking the supportive decisions on the analytics. So now it is a third phase. With Power BI, like everyone in the organization can analyze the data, ask the questions that will help the business run better. So moving on to the next one. So this is the end user needs, like accessing the data, cleaning the data, mash up the data, explore the data, visualize it, and share it. So all these capabilities are well within the lines of Power BI, and it can do much more. So let's go. So Power BI has, you can connect to n number of sources. So any different type of sources like PDF, .pdf, .csv, Excel, SQL, analysis services, web connectors. You can even get the data from the a website which doesn't have in a format, which the table may be in an image format, and you can get the data as well. So let me show you. So this is the Power BI desktop. So this is the latest version. I updated it yesterday. So we have, if you download it on your desktop, you'll see like there are three icons on the left hand side. This is the report view, this is the data view, and this is the model view. So we call these panes. These are called the panes, and the white area, this is called the canvas. So this
Vikas,
is
sorry to interrupt. Can you please zoom that area, maximize that portion?
this one or this one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I cannot. I think I'm using the last screen which I have, but we cannot maximize in this one.
You are
So
using mouse, and you can press Control and scroll up.
I don't think so I can do that.
Okay, no issues. Please go ahead.
So if you see on the right hand side, I mean, you can download the Power BI desktop while I'm talking to you guys, so that you can just see it on your screen itself. So these are the three different panes. We call them panes, these tabs. So this is called filter pane, which is very pretty new, and this is a preview feature. This hasn't been enabled for everyone. So you need to go into the preview features under the file and then activate it. So this is called the visualizations pane, and this is called fields pane. So these are the different tabs on the top. If you see file, home, insert, it is something similar to Excel. So Power BI initially in the back end, it runs on mQuery, and the front end, it uses DAX. These are the two languages which are used in Power BI. So whatever the transformations you do in the backend, if you're well familiar with mQuery or MDX, you can use that. And if you're pretty much new to it, and it's very simple, you have a syntax sheets available, like the white papers available in Microsoft websites. You can get hands-on. So if you click on get data, so these are the list of Microsoft delivered uh, connectors. So you can connect to n number of data sets. So let me show you. Excel connect ID spend analysis. Open. So this is the info, and if you click on transform, if you click on load, it directly loads to your fields pane. If you click on transform data, it goes into a Power Query editor. So if you're familiar with Excel, there's a query editor. So this is something similar to that. So oh, so this is called Power Query Editor, which runs in the backend, where you do all the transformations in Power BI. So this data is clean. So if you want to combine the segment and the country together, so click here, or if you want to just split the country, just use the first three letters of the country. So then you click on split column, number of positions, 3. Okay. So it split the it country 1, country 2. It should be here.
Vikas, can you please give some example of unclean data and the purpose behind doing this task?
Unclean data. Let me see if I have something.
Yeah, sure. And what is the requirement exactly? And why we are doing this, and what will be the outcome?
So the formats. So there'll be different formats, and if you're working in an enterprise, people, if something is manually being entered, there's a huge mistake. Like even if there is a space in between or in front of a country, for example, like in front of country, there's a space. So it'll be taken as a different country. So anything you get the data in any format, like connect to any source in any format, Power BI gets it into the tabular form. So you'll see everything in the tables, rows and columns. So it'll be difficult for you when you're creating visuals. It doesn't consider it as the same country, and your data is corrupted at that time. So okay, so this is a .csv file which I'm using. Let's see if this has. No, this is also clean data, but we can do something. So let's say we just want to see the ANZ size C06, and we don't want the divisions in this one. As you see, like there are two types of industry codes. So we just want the divisions A. We don't want the S, like the sub category code. So we don't want this. So we can split this, split the column. You can split it from here, or you can just click here, right click here. You'll see the split column here. You can use delimiter number of characters, non-digit to digit. So these are different types you can use, or you can customize as well. So leftmost delimiter, space. Yeah. So if you see here, so the division code, the industry code is changed. It is still A. I've removed the excluding case classes, like the subcategory under the code. So if you observed, the steps are being applied. So whenever the data comes in this format, the step when you refresh it, or if you change anything in the source, or if the data gets updated in the source, the steps are applied every time you refresh. So it'll get the data from the source and then apply these changes. So this is one good feature which we have in Power BI in the backend, and you have this in, if you observe this, you have the year, and you can change the format of any column. Let's say if you see the industry code, it's in text format. So if you just if you want if these are all in number format, you can just change it to the number format from here. So you just need to click on the icon here, and you can see you have options to change it, like date, time, text, whole number. So it gives you an error automatically. So if there is a format which is being used in source, and when you get the data initially, it shows you what's the error. So we couldn't convert the number. If you just click on the error, it shows you the error. You can keep the errors, or you can remove the errors just by like keep top rows, remove top rows. So these are called table transformations. So it applies to the entire table. These are column transformations. If you click on the column and right click, you'll see these are the column transformations which are applied to only single column. But when you click on the table on the left hand side, it shows you the options which are applied to the entire table. So, and let me show. And if you want to add any custom columns or conditional columns, let's say like if year is equal to 2018, then output should be 1. Else, you can enter a value, or you can select a column. So you can name it as like count. If you see, like it's changed the 2018 to number 1. So, and whenever there's a 2018, it's changed to 1. So these are the transformations. So any transformations, let's close and apply and see what error it throws. So coming on to Power BI, there are different tools for Power BI. So there's Power BI Report Builder, which is similar to SQL Server reporting services like SSRS reports. So you can use either of the tools like Power BI Report Builder or the Microsoft Report Builder. So the only difference is Power BI Report Builder has an option to publish it to your workspace, like the cloud, and you don't have that option available in Microsoft Report Builder. So, and there is one more desktop. You'll see similar familiarity between Power BI Desktop and the Power BI Report Server desktop. So PBARS desktop is something which is like not that advanced, but which is used for like on-prem. If you're connecting to on-prem, and for example, let's say I work for a company where the data is very restricted, and you cannot put it online. So if you have anything similar situations, you use report server. It's similar to like Tableau server. So it threw an error saying that like loaded. If you click on view errors, so these are the list of errors which it groups the errors in a separate folder like structure. So if you see here, it gives you the error and the row number. That's row 32, row 33. So you can easily point out where the data is wrong and correct it at your source level, or you can just do the transformations in Power BI. Let's see. If I change it back to text and remove, I can delete the group. Fresh preview. You can go in here, change type 1, ABC text. If you just hover over, the red line you're seeing, it shows you what percentage of errors you have, and do you want to remove the errors, or if you just want to keep the errors, you can keep the errors. And if you close and apply, so every time you do the transformations, you can close and apply, or you can just simply apply, or you can just close it and save the changes later. So let's see.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Samir, I have a question. So the refresh is how many times we can refresh it? Is there any limitation or restriction to
So
refresh the data? And second question is when to use Power BI and DAX functions? And what is the difference between Power BI editor and the DAX functions? When to use what?
I got the first question, but I did not clearly understand the second question. So how many times you can refresh? So in
And I
cloud,
mean, does it affect memory allocated for each BPI Excel file?
yes. So on your desktop, you can refresh n number of times. It's up to you. So it, 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 it depends upon your from an admin perspective. I can say that it depends upon how frequently your source data changes. So there are few other uh, connections. I would say, like, if you're connecting to traditional databases like Oracle, SQL, or analysis services, there are different modes in it. I don't have access to this. Let me show value. Let's change it to text. Let me show you. So I'm using a SQL Server connector here. So if you see for a SQL Server database, there are two connectors. One is the import mode and the direct query mode. So what it does, what is import mode and what is direct query mode? So import mode, so you can write a query for both direct query and import mode or SQL statement. So what it does is it gets the data and saves a copy on your Power BI local. So whenever you click on the refresh, it goes and get the data again. In direct query mode, it directly connects to the SQL server. It doesn't save anything on the Power BI desktop. So whenever you interact with the visuals, or if you say, let's say, filter the data, it goes back into the database and gets the data. So in import mode, like in Power BI service, if you can schedule refresh. Let me show.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, in
Yes.
Power BI editor, I'm saying so there is a refresh review option. So
Yeah.
how many times we can do that? Is there any limitation
No,
when we refresh in Power BI
there,
editor?
there is no limitation in the Power BI editor. So you can do n number of times. As I said, like it depends entirely depends upon you know, if you're using a SQL server and if you are doing n number of times a refresh, it does impact your the backend server which is storing the data. So, but it doesn't impact
It's
your
not
local
about the
desktop.
package, it's about the memory that we give it. What I heard about is the PBX file that we generate
Yeah.
in Power BI desktop. It has a limitation of memory. I think 2 GB. Only the each PBX file accepts. Correct me if I'm wrong. And
So I've worked on like different reports. I've got data like more than 3 million rows of data, and it has 15, 20 columns. So it does impact your performance. It is a bit slow when you click on refresh in an import mode. When you're using such amount of data,
Hello. Hello.
for like a 5 GB file. So okay, so these are the fields in the fields pane. So it's something similar, just like drag and drop. Let's say you have year, drop here, 2018. So you have it here. You can change the visuals just by clicking. So I've selected this visual. So if you want to change a visual to a table format, you can just click on the table format. It automatically changes the entire structure of the visual. So if you want to filter something, you have something called filter slicer here. Just click here, slicer. So add fields here. It gives out this structure. So if you want it as a list, you can choose this one as list. If you want it as a drop down, you can choose it as a drop down. 2015. So it filters the visual 2015. So why is Power BI better than I wouldn't say like it is the best at the performance level. It has some glitches, and you have every month there is a release. So they update the Power BI service, the cloud version. They update the Power BI desktop version every month. So it's easy to create the measures, calculated columns. So when you compare it with one of the tops like Tableau, so if I use the value here, and I want the sum, I want the average, I want the minimum, I want the maximum. So you can just do it right away here, just clicking on the drop down. So this doesn't happen in Tableau. You need to create a measure for that. So this is very easy for the end users or the business, the clients or the business people. So it's easy for them to understand and navigate. If I just click on don't summarize. Yeah.
I just have one doubt here. So
Yeah.
is it open source or like is it like licensed one?
Yes. Good question. So Power BI Desktop is free. So Power BI Cloud, if you have an enterprise ID, you can have it for free. So coming up to two types of accounts. So Power BI Free and Power BI Pro. And there's one more additional feature which is called Power BI Premium. So what it does. So Power BI Free is, so let me show. This is, if I click on publish, save. Save. So currently you're seeing my workspace here. So let me select. So it is publishing it to the cloud. So this is the visuals which I used in this report, and it's publishing the report to the cloud. So when I click, let me go here, refresh. If you see here, this is the report, and this is the data set which was. Okay. So this is a report, and this is a data set. This is a new look. So my workspace is something free which everyone has when you just get it when you sign up with app.powerbi.com. So when it comes to pro license, this costs you like $10 per month. And what are the features you get for that? So if there is a capacity in your enterprise which is being used for Power BI services, so then you have a premium capacity. You have my workspace now. Then you can have, when you have a premium capacity, you can have premium workspaces. So I have a document here.
Vikas. So
Yes.
I guess these are some of the basic features which we are learning today, right? So if we will consider about the complete learning, then how much time it will take to learn the entire Power BI, and how different it is from Microsoft report or any other tool available in the market.
So I mean, I'm familiar with Tableau, so
Mhm.
I can give you a comparison between the prices. So and how effectively you can communicate with end users using Power BI rather than Tableau. So if you're using Tableau, for example, let's say a pro license in Power BI gives you uh, capabilities where you can share it with end users, access premium workspaces, publish data sets, and it is something like $10 per month, so it comes up to like 120. But if you're getting a Tableau license, it is like $800 a month, a year. It is
No,
$800 a year.
apart from the pricing point of view, because see, if a company
Okay.
will
Yeah.
any
I'm,
tool
I'm,
better to
I'm,
them.
I'm-
Apart from that pricing point of view, what are the all other differences? Why
yes,
should a
yes.
company opt for
That's
Power BI?
yes, that's what. So Tableau Online has been launched recently. So if you're sharing with end users, there's already a platform available for you with Power BI, and even for reading the content, you have to pay it in Tableau. And coming up to Power BI, when you're purchasing a premium capacity, so it gives you free licenses, and moreover, there are certain features which lag in Power BI. So if you say, for example, data flows, you have
You
data
can take
flow.
a pause and connect to your battery
Yeah,
charger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. Just give me a second. So let me show you. Come on, this is so. Just give me a second.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Guys, if you have any other questions, then you can start asking your questions.
Yes.
So I have one more question here saying that so when we share a report or the dashboard with the business user, can they add their additional data to the existing report or dashboard and make their own report?
So if you're so this is your my workspace, right? So premium workspace. You can collaborate with each other. So yes, they can. They can connect. Um, I mean, they cannot add anything to the data set which you published, but they can use it and analyze it in Excel. They can export it. They can download the .pbix and they can work on there, and they can add
But
additional data to
have
your
the
.pbix.
option, see, we have a gate data option. So is it that they can add their own data to the existing report and dashboard? Then what is that option for?
This one. So that's what as you're the owner of the data set, they cannot make any changes to the data set or the report. So they can consume it. So you have a feature called Power BI datasets. Let's say, so if you see here, there's an option called Power BI datasets. So let's say you have published a report and you shared that dataset with me or the report with me. So what I can do is I can just use the Power BI datasets and I can connect to the data source, I mean the dataset which you have published, and I can build my own visuals on top of it, and I can publish it to my workspace.
Can you please show again where that option is?
Just a second. If you see here, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
So on the left top corner, you have the third
What's your voice?
Vikas, you are not audible. Hello?
Samir, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, now it's okay.
So coming up to
So
your,
you were telling us about the Power BI data set, and then after that we lost your voice.
so you can connect to the Power BI datasets, and if you are sharing a report or a data set with me, I can connect to that, and I can make my own visuals or create a different report or different views using the same data. I cannot
Even
add
even
data
add
when
can.
connected to a Power BI data set.
So you mean that with
You,
the Power BI dataset option, you can even add the data to the existing report and dashboard.
no, you cannot. You cannot. You can use that's in a live mode, so you cannot change anything. So you cannot add any new data to it. You can consume the data and build your own report, but you cannot change the data.
Okay, got it.
So Samir, why Power BI is better than any other tool right now in the market? So Power BI has different features. They have Power BI mobile. So you can have the application on the mobile, and you can have it on your iPad, iPhone, or any kind of device. So, and you can create different views for them as well, and scheduling the refresh. So coming up to, if you see, these are the ones. Someone asked about, like, what is the difference, different types of licenses we have. So we have pro license, we have the premium capacity. When you're in a premium capacity, so these are the additional features which you have in the premium capacity. So when you have a dedicated capacity, you can have, these are the limitations. Like, currently, the institution I work with, which has like a P3 capacity node. So what it can does is it can connect like 120 live connections at the same time. So let's say currently we have around like 5,000 users globally. So 120 direct live connections of the reports can be run at the same time. And if you see, like, refreshes at the same time, parallel refreshes, like 24 for every 1 minute, or at the same time. You have options called schedule refresh in the premium capacity, which enables you to automatically connect to a data source and refresh. So the other tools does not provide these features, I would say. So there is no gateway for that. So there is a gateway connection, which what it does is, it acts as a bridge between the Power BI's cloud and the on-prem servers. So if you have a SQL server sitting in a data center, and you have access to it, and you have built a report on top of it, and you have published it to the cloud. So, but there is no connection between the cloud and the data center. So what the gateway connector or the gateway connection does is, in the backend, it acts as a bridge between the Power BI service and the data center, and gets the data. So depending upon the frequency you set up at, it refreshes the data in the report. So Power BI has another feature called apps, Power BI apps. So for every premium workspace, you can have an app. So if, let's say, if your IT team, like business analyst team, has a workspace, and your client has a workspace. So what you can do is, you can just create an app, business analyst app, and if the client wants to view it, you can just add the clients to the app, and they can read the data, and they can analyze them in Excel if they want, or they can connect to it through Power BI desktop. So you can share it with like n number of users using the apps. They don't need to have a license, pro license. They can be any person, with just a enterprise account, like a O365 account. They can read the content. So
Because I have a question here. So
yeah,
this tool is having the ETL capability. I mean, it can understand the data from Oracle and SAP if I have a two
yeah,
source.
yes. So you can mash up the data. So right now I have like Excel, .xlsx and CSV. You can connect to PDF, you can connect to Oracle, SQL. So you can connect to n number of sources, and you can connect like one Oracle, one SQL, SharePoint. So you can get the tables from different sources, and you can just smash it. So that's a good thing here. So what it does is it gets the data. It may be in any format. It may be in any format. It eventually gets it to the table format. Everything in Power BI is rows and columns.
So eventually, it will reduce the dependencies of ETL tools like Ab initio or some other tools we have it in the market.
Uh,
It's
but it won't be able to process that fast because this is reporting services. But if you want to land that data in somewhere on a different server, it'll be difficult. It will be difficult to process huge chunks of data. It depends entirely depends upon how good the transformations are. So let's say if the entire data is full of text, so all the columns, there are 20 columns and like 100,000 rows and everything is text. So that does consume a space much more. So Power BI, what it does is it shrinks the data and just like a zip file. So whenever you get the data into Power BI and create the data set. So what it does is if you're getting a 10 gigabyte data, what it does is it creates data sets, it compresses it and shrinks it to a level of like 3 or 4 gigabyte. So whenever there is a refresh, it again bubbles up. So it does it for ETL. I wouldn't recommend using Power BI, but for get data from different sources, I would say like multiple sources, and you connecting to it and building reports on a single platform, I would definitely recommend Power BI. Would be better.
So Vikas, what about the opportunities currently are there in the market for this Power BI? Because there are so many tools. So why should someone go to Power BI, and how much demanding this tool is?
So let me see. It at the end of the day, it comes up to the cloud. So currently, most of the companies are moving out. So let's say consider this pandemic time. So if everything is on-prem, and it wouldn't have happened for us to work. So everything is moving to cloud. So the two big giants currently which are in the cloud market, I would say is one is Amazon and the other one is Microsoft Azure. So Power BI service or the cloud, it runs on the Azure in the backend. So it I mean, there are many features. So there is artificial intelligence in Power BI. So the visual which is here. So this is let's see this one. The key influencers. It uses AI. You can have R. You can have Python. You can write scripts in Power BI. So there is a lot of scope and development continuously going on. As I said, like there is a release every month. So there are new features being added. So there is another feature called data flows. So which is quite good. What it does is you can get the data from multiple sources and you can create a flow. You can merge them together and you can just uh, give the directions how do you want to have that data, and you can build any kind of reports on top of it.
So how much time does it take to become an expert if we start learning Power BI? At
So
least not expert, at least to do the regular work activities.
okay, let's say, so most of, if you're good with, I mean, it depends upon the individual, I would say, but for example, let's say if a person who's okay with Excel, uh, if he can put some effort in it, so everything is drag and drop here. So if you want to be an admin, it'll be difficult because you need to have that exposure. So currently I'm not sharing you guys the premium capacity. I have the access to it. I cannot share that content because the data which I work on is restricted. So for becoming an admin, it depends upon the organization you're in. But for becoming and developing the reports, I think it will take around like 1 week of time to get started. But eventually you learn. There are different types of errors you get when you're trying to work on the reports. So the main thing is to get around it. So that's the key thing. It'll take time for any
It's
individual.
really depend on the individual, how much time someone is spending to learn the skills, right? Okay, so
Yes.
I'm going to put this video recorded session on YouTube. So is that okay for you?
Yes. It's definitely fine for me.
Okay, okay, fine. So what are the prerequisites to learn this tool?
So you have huge content. Microsoft has white papers. They have. I already shared on the group. I think uh, a Power BI guided learning. So you have DAX queries in Microsoft site. So I would suggest you to. There's a YouTube channel which is called Guys in a Cube, and they're really good at it. Uh, so
Can you please share
they're
that
pretty
video?
much sure.
Can you please share that
Let
YouTube
me.
in the group after the session?
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I think I
Because
already did it, but I'll send it again.
Yeah, yeah.
because
And if
we
any other paid tutorial also, then you can share the link.
I think Microsoft provides everything for free, so you don't need to pay for anything. And I wouldn't
Okay.
suggest paying for this because there's a lot of content you can learn. So uh, Marco Russo, I think. Let me give you another name.
because quick question: do we really require the VB language for us
No,
to?
no. So you should be, if you want to do any transformations. So everything is like GUI. So the options which are currently available in Power BI are good for transformations. But if you want to do anything with more on that, so you need to learn MDX. So like it's mQuery, which Excel runs on. And if you want to create any formulas, let's say like you want to get an average for this particular year, or you want to filter that to a particular year, so you need to learn DAX. DAX is the front end where you can create the visuals and the calculated columns for Power BI content, and mQuery is used for transformations. So
So
Just one more question here.
yeah,
Query. So I've
can you see my
heard.
screen?
Hello.
yeah, yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
So I wanted to know when to use Power BI query and when to use DAX functions. So because more or
Uh,
less I've seen that say, even if I want to add a column in the table, it can be done by DAX also and can be done by M query also, Power BI query also. And again, there is an advanced editor option when you open the Power BI editor.
yeah.
So I don't
Let
know which
me.
option when and what.
So let me show. So transformations. So when it comes to transformations, so you have advanced editor. So this is something like when you're quite comfortable with mQuery, so you can use this. Let's say if you just remove this, it would fail. It'll give you an error. So you should be quite familiar with it. in order to use the advanced editor. So once you get used to creating reports, you can, or if you're familiar with mQuery, use the advanced editor. I would suggest that. So if you want to create any calculated columns or conditional columns, let's say conditional column, it's easy because it's just like if and else. So it is just like user interface. If you just you can see the column names here, and you can select the operators, and you want the value, and you can give you the output. So if you want to select a column, you can select a column. If you want to enter a value, you can enter a value. It's something simple, but there is one more option which is called custom column. So when you add custom column, what it does is it gives you this. So here you need to write an mQuery. So for any transformations, use Power Query Editor. If you want to change anything in the data, use Power Query Editor. So for DAX, as I said, you won't be using DAX in the backend. You'll be using DAX in the front. So you already got the data, and you have here. You cannot create measures in a Power Query Editor. You can create the measures here. Let's say I just want to see sum of values. So click on here. So you can click here, measure. So you have the formula bar. So you need to write the query here. You have one good thing is you have the IntelliSense, you have IntelliSense, and you have the DAX IntelliSense. So if you just click, if you just type few words, it gives the structure or the syntax you need to use to get the output. So let's say sum of value. So it lists out the columns which you can use. So double click on this. That's it. The measure is created. $132 million. So you can change the format here. This is a whole number. If you want a decimal number, and if you just want it to be a dollar value, you can just assign the dollar value to it. So use DAX in the front end for creating measures, and I would suggest always do the transformations in the backend. If you want to add a calculated column, you can do it here. So, but I wouldn't suggest using calculated columns because it takes some. So,
Vikas, uh,
yeah,
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. So when you say that to have a measure at the back end, so what do you mean by that?
So Power Query Editor. So if you, so this is the backend. So this,
So,
if you
but
see
that is the Power Query Editor screen, right?
yes, yes, Power Query Editor is just like if it. Let me show. So if you see here, transform data. When you click on here, you have transform data here. So this transform data opens another screen. So this is called the Power Query Editor. So if you do the transformations in the backend before publishing, so this is something like you need to apply every time you make changes here. So if the transformations are done here, and if you apply, it compresses it and sends it to the Power BI front end. So if you see here, this is like compressed data. That's why any transformations you do it in the backend, like in the Power Query editor, I mean. And you can view the relationships here. If there is no relationship, you can always create one, just like drag and drop. So it gives like one-to-one, one-to-many, so different kinds. So just click and apply, and it does. So this is a data view where it shows the entire table's data in the form of tables. Let's see here. So
Because
it's just like simply
sorry to
Excel.
interrupt you. Uh, Sorry to interrupt because I have a question here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you just go back to this annual enterprise? To the right one. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there we have selected now measure, the
Yes.
middle one, the measure we have selected. So
Yes.
whether this, how about the rest ones, like for a unit, value, variable, and for other industries and count? So how it is done, whether it is same way followed, or if there is any other approach of doing it.
So you can do it like as I said, like you,
So
measures are not.
what you showed is what you showed for measure is you just went to query and selected the drop downs there, 4 drop downs, and then selected that and edited one query, and then you showed the measure. So whether
Yes.
it is the same for other users, units, value, variables, and
Yes.
other
So
sub financials informations, or like it's the same.
so let's say, so if I want to use a column from this one, click on any other. Measures are not confined to a table. So you can
Okay.
create measures anywhere in the data set. So you can create a measure
Okay. So basically, can you
which belongs to
clarify
the
me the
annual. You can
could you
name your
please
own measure.
okay, I'm not clear about the concept, basic concept behind this measure mean. So if you can clear me on that.
That's what. Let's say.
Okay.
So let's say if you want calculate sum of measures for the year. Annual enterprise year is equal to 2014.
So
So
basically, what
what
are
what
these
what what
measures
I did
called?
right now? Yeah. So what I did right now is I've created a
Hmm.
measure which gives like
Hmm.
2000, the year 2014's value for the annual enterprise. It filtered that. So if you want like yearly summarizations, just say like 2014, 2015, 2016, and you want to create different sums, you can use this functions. So there are different kinds of measures you can use. Like if you want the average, if you want a calculation, let's say I want to divide this by 2, so I can just do that.
Okay. So you mean to say that measure is mean between the range between that the you mean to say the range basically, or how?
No, it's not a range. So measures are just like if you want to calculate any values, or if you just want to use, let's say, how would I say, like average, sum, any calculation, mathematical calculations, you can use
Okay.
measures.
Okay. And how about units and other industries and count?
You can create multiple measures. There's nothing no limitation on that. So measures are very fast because it is stored on the, just say like the data on your RAM, or it's just like temporary memory. But calculated columns are stored in your data set. Any other questions? I know I'm a bit like or here there. So uh,
No,
I
it's
would suggest you guys to use it as much as possible, so that if you have any questions, you can always ask me on the group.
Hello.
Yeah.
So Vikas, I have one more question. You were just saying
Uh,
about the Power App and the Power BI. I wanted to know a difference between what is Power App and the Power BI. So both of them, the
no,
functions are same.
Power Apps is completely different. Power BI app is a workspace app. So
Can
if
you
you
just
see here,
put some light
if you see
on
here,
the Power
if you
App?
see here, get apps. Let me see if there is anything available in the market. Okay.
Also, one more question
Yeah.
to you. So you were saying that there are different versions for Power BI, like free, pro, and premium. So can we know that what are the differences that they have?
Okay. You want the differences between like free, pro, and premium.
Yeah. Also, one more thing that I have observed that it doesn't take your personal ID when you create your account in the Power
No,
BI.
no, it doesn't. It
It
doesn't.
asks
So
you your
it always asks you to get an institution, like let's say your company ID or your educational ID. So if you're in a university, you can always use your university ID, or if you're in a company working for a company, or you can use that ID.
yeah, but in that case, so the normal person cannot even log in that system.
So this is, yeah, it won't allow you to use. So this is something which is like for organizational purpose. This is not something for personal use. So their main motive behind it is to push as much as to different companies working around. Uh, so they won't allow any individual users to get connected. So if you see here, so this one, this is an app built by Microsoft 365 Usage Analytics. So you can see these are the different tabs: executive summary, overview, activation, licensing. So this is a report which was created by them, and you can consume these through the apps. You don't have to pay anything. You don't have, for reading content. You don't have to pay anything. So it's for free, and you can share it to n number of users. So there's no limitation on that. You can share it through your entire organization. So this is called apps. So every premium workspace has that feature, and you can have one Power BI app for premium workspace. So you can list all the dashboards, reports, and the data sets in that app, and you can publish that app. So it'll be visible to the people whoever you share it with. So this is the cloud version. If you see here.
So when you have just
So
shown us that app, uh, whether it was created in the Microsoft, Power BI desktop or how?
so the no, it's created in the workspace itself. So let me show. If you see here, there's a dedicated capacity, right? So if your workspace is on a dedicated capacity, you'll see an option called app here, publish an app here. I should have a premium workspace. Let's see if there is. I don't have it here. So you'll have an publish app option here. So once you click on that, it'll give you the list of reports in your workspace, and you can, there's a toggle on and off button. So included in app, excluded in app. You can just turn on or turn off the reports and publish them. So that you have 10 reports, say, and you want to share only the 5 of them with the end users, and you want to remove the rest of them. You can just turn the included in app option in the workspace, and you can share that content with the end users. I should have somewhere. Any other questions? I'll definitely give links, different links. So, but I would suggest if someone is trying to learn a different DAX queries, or as said to me by different trainers. So Marco Russo, he's the guy who's good at like Power BI, DAX, mQuery. He's quite good at it. So you can always follow this guy, and you can use the SQL BI. So they have so he is good. He has good stuff. So you can follow this page for any DAX related questions.
Great. So you can share all these links in the
Exactly.
WhatsApp
I'll,
group.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I will also put them in the description of that YouTube video. And if anyone has any question, then you can comment on that YouTube video itself, so that uh, I will ask Vikas to answer those questions.
Sure, definitely.
Sudhir Palgani, do you have any questions to Vikas?
No, thanks for the session.
Sudhir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. No worries.
Yeah. Any questions to Vikas?
So Amrit has one question.
Yeah,
Please explain
I've
how Power
just
BI differs from Tableau.
yes. So Power BI differs from Tableau. So performance-wise, Tableau is still good, uh, but when you take considerations on an enterprise level, like sharing content and getting users to access the reports you have built. So there is no point in creating those reports and you're unable to share. So Tableau lacks on that, and Power BI is better at that. And Power BI has more cloud capabilities and advanced features. You have R integrated in it, Python integrated in it. You have machine learning features, and basically it runs on Azure in the backend. So I would say Power BI is more advanced in the cloud. Tableau is not, and but Tableau for developing reports, Tableau is still a bit more fast and robust. But whenever it comes to Microsoft products, it's always user friendly. So it wouldn't take much time for you to get around Microsoft Power BI. But I would suggest it takes like one month of time for you to get in Tableau, and you have more Power BI. One big advantage going with Power BI is it has strong community, and they keep on posting any issues, any ideas. So even if you're stuck at some point, you don't need to reach out to an customer service. You can just go into the blog, or you can just go into the threads, and you can always look out, just cut, copy, paste there, and someone would have already experienced such kind of situations, and um, Microsoft always answers those questions. So
Can
it's
you share that with us where we can post our questions and have
so
answers back to the community?
let me show you. So let's say we are here, right? So this is your workspace.
So there is a question and answer one more portfolio that they have in the micro in the Power BI desktop itself.
Yes. So that is for support, I guess. Let me show you. You're talking about help, right? So you have Power BI blog community, submit an idea. So if you have any, Power BI blog is where it shows new features and upcoming events, any new releases. So you see there's a data gateway installation. Uh, they have Power BI desktop April version released. So these are the announcements you get through the blog. And if you go into the community, so this is where you can search for different content. Just copy paste in Google. That is the best thing. Let's say I don't have an error, but I could have shown you. Let's say Power BI refresh error. Oh, you can see here Power BI refresh error. So you'll click on that. So someone had a different error, and always someone answers it. Most of them are solved. If
Time
if
would
it's
it
not,
take
so
sorry.
go ahead.
Uh, okay, yeah. So how much time do they usually take to have an answer back if we post any
So,
questions there?
so not sure. Let's see right now. 609-2017, 9:41 a.m., 6/14/2017 to 7 a.m. from Microsoft. So this is the answer, but you can see there are people who answered right away. 06/09/2017, 9:43 a.m. It just took like 2 minutes for them. So there are people who always ask you, try to help you with that because they have like upvotes and everything. So they have a strong community. So it definitely outweighs Tableau.
So do
How
we
is the
have any
job?
available
So
uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is, do you have any case studies available anywhere where we can use the data?
Sorry, I did not hear you properly.
Do we have any case studies available?
Case studies?
If you want to practice anywhere, any data is available
Yes,
anywhere.
they have sample data. So
Okay.
if you just go click on like IT spend sample, analysis sample, human resources, you have different Excel files. You can connect to the content directly
I
using
guess
the
those are not Excel files. I've tried that option, but then when I downloaded that, it always comes in PBX file.
no. If you download the .pbx, it'll download the .pbx. If you download the Excel workbook, it'll get it in Excel workbook.
Okay, I'll
So
just try that. I think.
not only this, like even if you just Google for sample data, you get sample data from everywhere. Like I've got the .csv files from New Zealand government, so that's public, and you can get it anytime you want.
Okay, great. So there is someone has asked one question in the chat section. Amrit
Job
has asked
market.
one question. So can you please check that one?
Yeah, someone asked like job market, which is hot, Power BI or Tableau. So as I said, like on these conditions, I'm not sure. It's been like a couple of years I've been working on Power BI. Um, I I would suggest, see, at the end of the day, cost savings is what your company looks out for, and the future capabilities. So, uh, if you're choosing a career path where you can eventually grow, then I would suggest you pick Power BI, and um, you need to add something to Power BI. Let's say
Okay,
in image
answer this in this form. What is the future, Power BI or Tableau?
Power BI. I would definitely say Power BI is strong
Okay, great,
because
great.
so they have machine learning, which and AI, artificial intelligence, already included, which is way ahead than other uh, business intelligence tools. I would suggest. So let's say there's no other tool which is being developing that fast. So when I'll give you an example. When I started working for my company, there were like 500 users altogether, like 150 pro users, and the rest of them were 500 to 1,000 of them are end users who are using Power BI Desktop, which was free. So currently, uh, after 1.5 year, we have like 600 pro users and nearly like 6,000 Power BI Desktop users. So you can see the growth, and we are global, and we are a Fortune 500. So I would definitely suggest to add something to it, learn Power BI, as well as if you're interested in machine learning, go for machine learning. So when you combine both of them, you'll have a good future.
Okay, great. So if anyone has any other question, then you can ask, or we will wind up the session for the today.
As a BA profile, how will be? As a business analyst, yes. So as a business analyst, so if you want to forecast, it'll be a good. It is very easy, and when you have analytics on your resume, it looks good. So I would always suggest, um, I would not suggest. It is good to have a tool. I mean, tool which you can learn. I've trained a lot of people in my company who are a business users, not exactly like analysts, but like a managerial role, and they work under different divisions, and they are the bridge between the IT and the business. So uh, it'll be good to have Power BI on your resume.
Yeah, actually, these days the companies are looking for certain skill sets while hiring a BA. Like either he or she should have strong domain knowledge on something, either on investment banking or e-commerce or anything, or they are looking for some analytics skill set in a candidate. So it's better to good to learn any analytics or any uh, Power BI is something kind of that a tool. It's
So let's
always
say
good to.
you're using Excel. So this is the main thing which was proposed to us, like how we can cut down man hours. So people were using Excel and they update it every day. They refresh it. They work on it. They do the transformations. They create the formulas every day. So what Power BI does is it automates everything. So one report you create in a year, it can run the entire throughout the lifetime. So if there's any changes, you can just update them. So it does save the manual hours. It might be anything. You work in any role. If you have something which is providing value to your company, I think that is good for you as well. So I would suggest, and it's good to have. It is very easy, and it is good to have Power BI on your resume. It might be any company. It might be a product based company, as someone has like BS mostly working in product based company. It might be a product based company or any other company. It would be a good tool because it automates everything, and you can propose it. If you have a premium capacity, you can play with it, man. Trust me.
Okay, so anyone has any other question, or we can wind up the session?
So I have a last question from my end. Because for this, as for BA, we have like a certifications from IIB, recognized global institutions like IIBA for CBAP and CCBA, something like that. And now the thought leader also have come up for 10 years. So is there any categories of experience-based certifications, even Power BI, or it's like we learn from
No.
the sources or links and we explore into that how it adds to value, because now we have into experience of business analyst, and if we have an certification related to BA, and then it'll have even more value. So is this something related somewhere similar kinds of in Power BI, or
No, you don't have certifications for Power BI. I think initially they used to have. I think they removed it. But I don't think certifications. I mean, it does look good when you say it's certified. I'm certified Power BI
hmm,
developer, but I think there's no certification as of now.
just
I
to
mean, if you want
learn
to
the Power
get
BI
an Azure,
into
if you want to get, you can get an Azure certification.
yeah. So just to learn and explore to self Power BI is do these links and then experience, explore it, and then become an expertise in that. That is the way, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Because sorry, you said Azure, right? Like what exactly in Azure?
So no, I'm saying like if you can get an Azure certification instead of Power BI certification. That's
So
what I meant.
Azure, so Azure DevOps has a lot, right? Like which
No, not
particular,
DevOps. No.
acha, it's only Azure.
Yeah. So when you say DevOps, it's just a model. So there's nothing like you don't build anything. There are different roles. So Azure is just a platform. Azure DevOps is something like DevOps is development and operations. So
Got it.
So any person from BA is like who is planning for CRAP certification or did this CRAP certification is much suitable for Power BI, or is it like his experience in BA and Power BI and he can continue his career in this, how, or he can
let
merge,
me put
or
it
any
this way. So
or any merger between these two roles?
if you want to showcase your numbers, let's say how much money you have saved your company. If you put it in a number, nobody. I mean, they do care, but it doesn't make any good visual for them visually. So if you put it in a bar graph, it does look good. You can say
Okay.
like 2017 I saved $1 million. 2020 I've just saved $20 million. So you can see the graph. You can show like 200% growth. So that creates an impact. So always visuals create an impact when you show the data. When you put it in an Excel format or a table format, it doesn't look nice. So it always add value to your role. You might be in any role, but when you have a tool which gives you that capability to show your work, I think it adds value to your resume, irrespective of your role. You might be a business analyst, you might be a manager, you might be a developer, anything. So
Yeah, because I just have a doubt.
yeah,
How is it different from Oracle BI?
Oracle BI.
Yeah,
So as I said, like I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with Oracle BI, but I'm familiar with MSBI, Microsoft Business
my
Intelligence. I mean, not Power BI, MSBI. So uh,
okay.
so this is user friendly and it's simple tool. So everything is coded in the backend. You don't need to write any codes. It's user friendly, so you can just select the drop downs and drag and drop. It'll create the visuals. You don't need to select the size, structure.
Like we don't have to create any customized queries and all to build a drag report.
No, you don't need to. You can
Okay,
just
everything is
leverage. You can get the data from SQL. You just need to connect it, select the table. It is in the table format. If you want to do any transformations, you can do it. It eventually, I mean, it automatically creates, if there is a sum, let's say like dollar amount, it creates some average, median. So it does everything for you.
So
okay.
is
We
there
just
any
have to connect all facts.
Yes. So
Okay.
so is there any technical knowledge required to learn this tool?
no, as I said, like if you want to, then go for DAX and mQuery. So those are the two things which Power BI runs on. So it'll be good for you to have minimal knowledge. Not you don't need to have high level knowledge, but you need to have a minimal knowledge to just get around things. Like if there is something, a value which you want to show, so you need to create measures, then DAX will be really useful.
So can you please share the link for that
Yeah,
as well?
I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll definitely do that.
Okay, okay, thank you. So can we wind up the session for the day?
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Vikas.
Yeah.
if
Thanks,
anyone
guys.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for the
sorry
for,
if I couldn't reach out to a lot of you guys, but this is my first time. I haven't done this. I thought I'll just share. I couldn't share the premium capacity details with you because the data which I work on is restricted. I cannot even share a PPT from my work. So
no
otherwise,
issue.
I would have shown you the way around how we can, how cool is Power BI.
We can understand that, but Vikas, I can suggest you one thing. Can you please take the screenshot of some of the screens from that premium app and put it in a PPT, and we can have another session so that.
I'll do. If I get the data, I'll ping in the WhatsApp group. So we can schedule something. But I need to get hands on it. That will be a bit difficult, but I'll, let me work on it.
Definitely, you take your time and let me know.
Sure. Appreciate. But please, guys, you can try a Power BI desktop and connect to any Excel files and play with it. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'll definitely reply back.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And
Thank you.
session, but
Thank you.
Vikas, we need
Thank you,
more.
Vikas.
Sorry.
Vikas, actually, we missed your introduction. So, can you please let us know a little bit about you, where you are currently working, and since how long you are working with this tool in this IT sector?
Okay. So let me see. So I'm currently in New York. So I'm working with Conning Incorporated. So uh, I've been working on this tool as an admin and a developer for past like 2.5 years. 2.5 years with Conning. Yeah, 2 years with Conning. Sorry, 2 years with Conning.
Okay, so hope everything is good over there because
Yes.
the
So I
situation.
stay in upstate New York. So pretty much like it's it's safe around here, I would say. So New
Mhm.
York downtown is, I mean, New York City is mostly affected. They have large number of cases. So
Okay.
yeah, hope you guys stay safe. So
Yeah.
enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vikas. It was a very good session, and you have shared lots of knowledge to us. And if there will be any queries, then I will let you know. If people will ask any question in the YouTubes, and then I will let you know. And thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vikas.
Thank you.
Thank you.